So today I'd like to talk about the boosted board. First off, we're going to talk about the specs of the board, like how fast it goes, how much it weighs, stuff like that. Second, I want to talk about likes and dislikes of the board. And then thirdly, I'd like to talk about how to make it better. So we're going to talk about the specs. So first off, the board can go 22 miles per hour. In conversion, that's 35.5 kilometers. So you can be speeding in a school zone. The board is very portable. It's either 15 pounds or 6.8 kilograms. It has a 6-mile range, or a 9.7 kilometer. That's the distance you can travel. It has the capability of hill climbing. It has safe regen braking and easy wireless remote. This is the remote. You press and hold it to turn it on. You pull the trigger in and roll the wheel forward to go forward, and pull the trigger in and roll it backwards to brake or go backwards. Press and hold to turn off, and that's the controller. So right here I have a comparison of the board. So this is the boosted board here. This is a loaded longboard, and then this is a Lanyard's drop deck. The boosted board is made by the board itself is made by Loaded, so it is the same construction as this board. So here I have 3 different boards, the middle one being the boosted board, and the one on the right being a Loaded longboard, and the one on the left being a Lanyard's longboard. The Lanyard's is a drop deck. You can see here, it's a drop deck in comparison. So this is my size comparison of the boards. This is my main rider, is this one here, and then the boosted board for size comparison, and then I have the drop deck Lanyard's board. I feel the board is relatively good in length. I feel that it could be a little bit longer, depending on your ride style. I'm a little bit taller. I'm about 6'2", but I feel the boosted board is relatively a good size for the normal height of people. Now for ground clearance, I feel that the board has great ground clearance compared to the other boards. The one main factor that you have to be careful with when you're depicting ground clearance is when you flip the board over, there's the large battery pack. There's a large battery pack on each side, but the main thing you have to watch out for is the back end here, where the wheels are. I feel that when I go over bumps and stuff, they tend to scrape. The board is quite flexible, which does help when going over bumps, which does kind of alleviate, but when it does flex, I feel that this part gets closer to the bottom. I looked on Boosted Board's website, and they haven't come out with a replacement piece for here or here, as if this assembly just kind of protects wires in the belt, which rotates the wheel. But I feel if Boosted Boards came out with a new rail for here, it would make it 1,000 times better, because I seem to scrape it up quite a bit. So from this angle, you can see that where you would turn the board on, right here, the light will go green. And then this is where the charge port, where you would plug it in from the wall charger. Let's put that back in. The wheels on the board are orangutan in heat wheels. I feel that they're holding up quite well. Their specs are right there, the 75 millimeter by 65 or 56 millimeter, made in California. Orangutan wheels in heat. I feel that they're working out really well. The front wheels are not modified at all, but the rear wheels, where the motor is, are modified. They have the holes drilled in them and have the bracket holding them on. They're the exact same wheel though, just modified. Here you can see that it is a loaded board, which is amazing. And then you can also see that the front chucks are this brand here. I haven't heard of this brand before, but they seem to be working out really well. The brand that I'm a huge fan of are these bad boys here. Are these ones, but I feel that the ones on the boosted board are equally as good. They seem to be holding up quite well. Each wheel has its own motor, so this one would spin this wheel and this one would spin this wheel, depending on the grade that you buy. They make 3 different grades, and this is the top grade that I'm reviewing here. I believe the lowest grade comes with 1 engine, or one motor, and I believe the second one comes with 2, but the battery isn't as strong on the board. What they've done is they've run the wires inside the board to the back here, so it alleviates having any obstructions in this area here, and also makes the board a little bit more flexible, which I'll show you here in a second. So I'm just showing right now the board flexibility. So the board is pretty flexible. I'm just going to compare it now to my other loaded longboard. That one here. So in comparison, I feel like the flex is pretty similar. This one just flexes a little bit more because it is a little bit longer of a wheelbase between the wheels there. But I feel the flexibility. I believe the board's made the same. Same thickness, the same material. And then I'll just show you my drop deck on how much flexibility that has. Now, by no means is this a scientific way of showing you the board. I'm about 165 for my weight, and that's about how much the board flexes when you're on it. So from here, I'll show you the BoostedBoard app. So you go into the app here, and it will tell you the battery life of the board, the kilometers traveled, and then you can set a trip meter as well. So if you want to see how far you've gone, it'll show you the board that it's connected, and it'll show you your firmware number at the bottom. And then this is where you change your mode. So there's a beginner, an eco, expert, and pro. Now eco, you can only go 15 miles per hour, and pro you can go the top speed of 22 miles per hour. Expert I haven't done yet. It's because it's kind of the in-between version. But I usually stick with pro, just because I like to go a little bit faster, and I feel that that if you're smoother on the controls, you do last a lot longer than maybe expected. With where when you use Eco, everything's a little bit more gradual and everything. But if you just do things a little bit more gradual in Pro mode, you're not gonna run out of batteries quick. So you can see that I've traveled 86.9 kilometers on the board. That's just around Leduc where I live. The road types here kind of vary between everything. I ride between sidewalk, where there's lots of breaks in the sidewalks, to smooth paved sidewalk, to riding on the road. There can be a little bit more pebbly of a road to a new finished road. Jumping between sidewalk and then the road. So it is quite a well-rounded board with the flexibility. The ride's great. With that being said, you do still have to be careful, because it does travel on high speeds. I know some people may not think that's a high speed, but just for starting out, it is an extremely high speed. And when taking corners, you have to be careful that there's not gravel on the corner or sand on the corner, as the board will kind of slide out from underneath of you. But that's to be as expected. Other than that, the board handles really well. I feel that the bushings are adjusted to the appropriate tightness right out of the box there, so there's no fiddling around with that. I haven't felt that the wheels are loose at all. They still roll great. The bearings on them are all right. They might need a replacement after a little while. I might put some better bearings in there to help it out. But so I'll just show you in Pro mode here. The controller itself is extremely touchy for going back and forth. You can definitely spin the wheels. So just lightly going forward here, I'll just show you. And then coming back. And then I'll show you full speed here. You can see that the wheels definitely spin. But it does have extremely good brakes. It's something that I really enjoy about the board. If it didn't have the brakes, I definitely probably would have hurt myself already on it. But overall, for stance wise, like I said, I'm 6'2", and the board rides extremely well. I do wish that you could get a little bit of a longer board, as it does feel a little bit shorter than I'm used to, but I've definitely gotten used to the board. But like I said, the brakes work really well. I feel like if you use the brake at full speed, stopping, I feel like you would probably fall forward off the board because you wouldn't be able to stance very well. Because it does brake that well. So there's definitely a different feel when riding, but it's definitely a good feel while riding. Although it'd be different. So when riding, I like to wear my kind of concoction where I have a wrist guard and a slider glove on. The wrist guard has the bottom piece removed, so you can't bend your arm back, but you still have the sliding puck, so you're not falling and stopping and breaking your arm. I like to use the controller on my left hand, and I feel that even with a glove on, it's still really easy to control. At first, when I did learn how to use it, I didn't use a glove right off the bat, so I did find it a little bit more difficult to learn how to use it with the glove. But I feel that it is something that you're able to do even with the controller and the sliding puck. So if you had to fall, you could drop it, slide if need be, or even if you did have it in your hand and you fell and you slid, tucking it kind of behind the puck kind of protects it. As you can see, it does fit in my hand, and it's not uncomfortable to hold my hand like this at all.